So let's come away from that a little bit. And do you want to talk a little bit about your immigration story to Canada?
hmm For sure. So like I said, I came here. I was 15. Um, I came with my family, so like my dad, my mom. I have one sibling and two sisters. One sibling, one brother and two sisters. Sorry, so three siblings, and so we're four, and I'm the oldest. Okay. Um, yeah. So we came here in 2013 per se, and I don't come from a rich family. I come from I would say an upper middle class family. Like, we were okay. Um, and when we came here, it was a big change. I, I know at first, we were supposed to go to different countries. Okay. So my dad used to work abroad. So the plan per se was like, to go where he was working, like, to leave where he was working, he worked in different places. But because of the fact that he was changing countries, I think the conversation, I wasn't in the conversation with my parents, but like, I think the conversation for them was like, it's going to be too expensive for us, like, to move country to country, like every year, every 6 months or whatnot, So, basically, we stayed in Cameroon, and so I pretty much, to just an extent, stayed with my mom. My dad will come maybe every month or 2 weeks, depending on how far he was,
Hmm.
to visit. So that's kind of like my upbringing, how it was. So it was really more my mom who was there. She was a lawyer, and then my dad was he's always been a financial guy, like like accountant per se, if you want, but with responsibility, if you want. So that's the kind of family in which I grew, Christian family. And when we came here, my parents obviously told me or told us that it was for the kids, that they were doing this because like um for themselves, like they are good enough, to see for themselves. But then the odds for the kids, just to make sure that we have as much chances as we can, for success in the future, whatever success is. They rather do this move to go to another country like Canada. So um and so yeah, so that's how we came to Canada. And I remember, because I was younger, I was kind of skeptic of coming to Canada because we were supposed to go to different countries. Like I said, we were supposed to go where
Yeah.
my dad was supposed to be, but we never went. So it was kind of like promises, but that would never happening, because I was getting excited to like, live in another country. I've always liked that traveling and stuff, like just I guess just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
so when my parents told me about Canada, we were young and we just like, bro, please, I'm not gonna tell it to my friends this time, because every time I would tell my friends and then I end up not going anywhere, and they were like, "What the heck, man? You just like a liar, fam. Like, stop doing that." So I didn't tell anyone, and then when my parents confirmed that, okay, yeah, like we literally going next week, I was like, "Oh shit, like really?" Okay. So I went to tell my friends. They were like, "Bro, you're a liar and everything." I was like, "No, no, no, this time it's actually for real," And so that's how we left. Um, yeah, it's a very interesting period, because just talking about it obviously makes me nostalgic a little bit about the past, because to this extent I really love my life, back then. Um, and when we got here, it was in December, so winter was there already. In Canada, this year was already there. So, and it was very different because when we got here, obviously we didn't have any house. We were staying with an uncle, like if you want, a family friend, not an uncle, but a family friend, who hosted us for like 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, before we found an apartment in the Italian neighborhood that I told you about.
Hmm.
So that's how we went through. So for a moment, for like 2 weeks, there were two families living in a three-bedroom, and that was like 12 people, pretty much. Like, no, like 10 people living in two bedrooms, in three bedrooms. Sorry.
Hmm.
And it was, it was very interesting, coming from the fact that, we came from a place where everyone had a room, you know,
Yeah.
we had space to play outside, and, we had, our house, per se, and we did things the type of way. And coming here and have to be crowded, in little apartments, little rooms, it's just like, whoa, bro, like,
In winter when you couldn't really go and play outside either.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, obviously in the beginning you're happy just for and grateful of being here, like, because again, you travel, and that's what I wanted, discovering new things and everything. So in the beginning was really, really nice. Um until I think when I went to school, when I started going to school, I think my integration was a little you went to I'm a people's person. Like, I like talking to people, I like getting in touch with people and everything. But I think because I had just come from Cameroon, I was very I don't know, maybe I just saw it could be seen that I'm different, like, you're an immigrant, you just came, and so it's different when it comes to integration. Thank God I already spoke English. So I went to an English college, so it was easy to connect to talk to people. But then talking to someone doesn't mean you're his friend. And I had no friends, and I wanted to make friends, right? So it was an interesting process because, like, I wanted to fit in, kind of, but it was hard. So I think, well, hard is not the right word, but it was weird. It wasn't the same way that I used to do when I was in Cameroon. There was a type of way you talk. There's a kind of way, like, the environment, right? But then here it's different. It's a new environment. You gotta learn new codes and stuff like this to be.
Sorry, and you said you went to an English school
Yeah, I did go to. You mean in Cameroon or here?
here?
Oh, year. I went to an English college. So we call it CJEP here. It's like a pre-university, like before you go to university. Between high school, it's like this 2 years, 3 years school that you go to. Uh, so I didn't go to high school here, but I went to a pre-university, and that one was in English, because in Quebec, if you're not like if your parents didn't do English school here, you'll have to do French school when it comes to high school and primary school. But then you can choose if you want to go to English pre-university or French university.
Hmm.
Uh, I went to English because in Cameroon I was doing English anyway, so it was just continuing what I was doing.